Coming barely weeks after a couple of building collapses in Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari signed into law the Engineers Registration Amendment Act 2019. This gives constitutional backing to the Council for Registration of Engineering in Nigeria, COREN, power to regulate the sector. To talk about this and the role of the media, traditional and online media, I have with me the head of Judiciary of the NTA, Mr. Femi Okeo. Well, thank you very much for coming around.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Yes. The president signed this act into law, and this coming weeks after a couple of building collapse. So the news of the signing of this act is actually battling for attention with the election period. So how did you get to receive this news?
I thought that was a very good coincidence for Nigeria, because you and I know that the process of getting laws out of the National Assembly and becoming signing them into law takes months, if not years. And this amendment bill, now an act, has been at the National Assembly for years. So for it to have come out of the National Assembly, been passing through 3 readings, and then the president signing it is a coincidence. But here again, we talking about building collapse, we are back to what our bane has been in Nigeria. It's like we depend so much on laws. And I think that we have more problems than laws. Yes, we need the laws to regulate, and the Council of Engineering in Nigeria needs the laws and empowering laws, just like any other profession. But we have serious attitudinal problems. And I think that our attitude is more of great repercussion to us than our laws. Yes, now we have a law which, and like you said, the media has a responsibility to bring attention to. But just as we do that, I am one person who does not want Nigerians to begin to isolate institutions. We isolate the police and say the police is corrupt. We isolate the media. We say, oh, the media is not, they are compromising. We isolate the military. We say they are not doing well. We are not looking at the Nigerian attitude, which affects everything across the board. You would know that on my beat, we cover COREN, we cover the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee, we cover the dental and medical tribunal. There are tribunals, there are laws guiding medical practice in Nigeria. But and you'll find that it's the same attitude that we carry from engineering into law, into medicine, that affects Nigeria, that causes building collapse.
Okay, looking at this, people have actually a couple of times accused the media of always being reactive instead of being proactive. Now this has come. Okay, when we had a couple of building collapses, people were talking about it. It was all over. Then the signing of the act into law, it's still in the news, and gradually it's going to die down very soon. How would you expect the media person, the media professional, to be more proactive now? Maybe while extracting and educating the people on these.
Indeed, Cecil, the position I'm selling to you is the position that helps us to be proactive. Instead of waiting for a law to be signed, let us look before that law. Could we say that we had an excuse for building collapse? Before that law, if we did not have that law in place, would we as a nation still excuse ourselves if our buildings collapsed just because we did not have the law? It means that there are things that we can do even without the law to do the right things. But now, thank God that we have the law, and it is our duty as media practitioners to bring it out to the people. Yes, just as you bring the content of the law out to the people and get them conscious of it, the practitioners need to do the right things. The practitioners are the ones who are to enforce the law. Have we seen anybody arrested from any of the building collapse? No. It means that even without the president signing this current law, there are things that the Engineering Council in Nigeria could do, and there are multiple professions that have to do with buildings. So it's a collaboration between all these multiple professions. That's why I went around those areas to talk about we need a positive attitude first. But then that's not to excuse the media from putting it on the table for Nigerians to know the content of that law and to know the roles where they fit into that law and how things can get better for us. I've just been studying the situation of the FCDA buildings in Garki that are to be evacuated and pulled down. But somebody built them. Indeed, it was not a private contract. It was given by government.
Yes, government approved.
And you could see those buildings already giving way less than 10 years after they were built.
Okay, so have you, maybe any member of your team, gone to do a background on what went wrong? Let's have a...
Now, let me now tell you where the media may be handicapped. We have done stories on that, on that building. It would therefore be part of our duty as media practitioners to do an investigative report of who got the contract.
Yes.
Of now, not just the general contractor, but who got the engineering contract. Who got the architectural contract. That again, in Nigeria, if you are depending on the media to do that, it will take quite a long time. But if the professionals who awarded the contract, who knew or who know who these contracts went to, and are proactive, are already picking up these people and asking questions, in fact, it would help or make the job of the media man easier. Or else we will have to begin to go into the files of the FCDA to know who got which contract and who did not.
Well, Mr. Okewo, I believe the Freedom of Information Act
yes,
is going to help in that.
Exactly, it should help.
It should help in that.
It should help.
Okay, now let's start with this. Let's start with this program and try to see how we can educate the people on a little one or two parts of this act passed into law. Let's start with the NYSC. The part where it says the NYSC engineers should not serve in schools. They should go to. Can you throw a little?
I happen to know that. You know, the NYSC, there is this general posting that most NYSCs should go to schools to teach. I should say that I violated that when my son was going to serve in Lagos. He served in Ministry of Works in Lagos. He studied engineering, and we thought that it was better for him. I don't know. Good, he was posted to a place where he could exercise his knowledge. I think that law is helping already. When people who study particular areas of discipline can go, like law, can go and practice those areas. So that law, again, those are the ingredients that you would say the law helps to do. So that if in NYSC in posting, the law already assists the NYSC to say, okay, these are exceptions. Let us post them to the engineering firms. And it helps youth corpers at that level, at the very teething level of to begin to gain experience instead of go to teach physics.
The act also talked about foreign firms getting to establish in Nigeria. They have to be registered with the
I don't know why we waited that long for that. Lawyers in the law field, you don't practice in Nigeria if you do not, even if you studied your BL, your Bachelor of Law, outside the country, you come to Nigeria and take another course at the Nigerian Law School. Why would the Nigerian engineering? However, one would think that the standards of engineering should be universal. And so possibly that's why it took that long for the Nigerian Engineering Council to say you must study or register in Nigeria to practice engineering. It's another good area of the law that has just been signed. It means that you cannot use your registration outside the country to work. That again, that should help people giving or governments giving contracts. You must first be sure that you patronize the homegrown engineer. And then, of course, being a universal profession, you also can bring in the foreign ones who must be registered in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, of course, it also says that they should have Nigerian engineers working.
Yes, yes.
And also, if
we have had that for a long time, and it's not been complied with. When we had the business environment, where it was an attempt to empower the local Nigerian businessmen and professionals to make sure that for every organization that was going to function in Nigeria had a Nigerian partnership.
Femi Okeowo, thank you very much. Broadcast professional, head of the Judiciary Desk of the Nigerian Television Authority. Thank you very much for educating us and enlightening us on this. All right, the media review segment have been able to bring to you Dissecting, Bisecting, and X-raying the Amendment Act just signed by the President. In a moment, I'll be back on with Omini for the concluded part of Insight.
Well, it's time to go.
Yeah, it's time to go, and good to know that we've been able to dissect and bisect and discuss this to a reasonable extent.
Yeah, because it may take a while, but truly, when there's painstaking on issues, you follow the process. Let's say what it takes to bake bread, and you bake the bread. By the time you finish and put it on the table, it comes out very sweet.
Yeah, and I just hope that other bills waiting assent is going to actually see the light of this, so that all sectors of the development of the country will move on at a faster pace.
That is because most regulators are more or less what we call toothless bulldogs. If they are given teeth to bite like bulldog, then Korean has been given that teeth to bite extra hard, and we believe offenders are really in for some trouble. Thanks for being guest to On Insight today. As usual, on behalf of all of us,
bye-bye.